This is Joe. He lives on the flashy side of town, drives a brand new bright red BMW, and loves to show off his lifestyle on Instagram. On the other side of town lives Amanda. She has lived in the same house with her family for the last 20 years, drives an old but dependable Toyota, and spends at least a few hours per month budgeting her family's expenses. If I told you that one of them is a millionaire and the other one isn't, who would you pick? Chances are you would say Joe, but the truth is that most millionaires are people like Amanda, and they might live right next door to you. It's easy to look at Joe's expensive material possessions and assume he's wealthy. After all, he has the big house, the fancy car, the nice things, all of which require money, and lots of it. The grim reality is that he has little accumulated wealth, simply because he spends most of what he earns. Wealth and income are quite different. Your income is what you earn, your wealth is what you accumulate. If, like Joe, you make a lot of money, and good for you, and spend it all, you're not wealthy. You're simply living a high consumption lifestyle. This might look good on Instagram, but when something unexpectedly happens, as it usually does in life, things might not look so peachy. You'll be surprised to learn that many higher income people can barely keep up with expenses, and just like many lower income people, they couldn't survive more than a few months without the main source of income. The good news is, if you embrace the proper habits, you increase your chances of accumulating enough wealth to become a millionaire yourself. And one of the very first steps to becoming a millionaire is to hit the like button of this video. It has been almost scientifically proven to increase your chances of wealth. Or maybe not, who knows, but hit the like button just in case. So what makes millionaires different? First of all, most of them are first generation millionaires. In their research, the authors found that only 90% of them had received money from a trust fund or estate, and 91% never received any ownership of a family business. Furthermore, 80% accumulated their wealth in their lifetime as a result of their work, investments, and financial decisions. A huge percentage of them are also small business owners. According to the authors, self-employed people are 4 times more likely to be millionaires than those who work for others. Does that mean that every small business succeeds? Of course not, but it's good to see that you don't need a law degree to be successful. Millionaires allocate time to their financial plans. According to research, 192 out of 292 millionaires spend a significant time planning their financial future. Obviously, you can spend a lot of time in your financial planning and not become a millionaire, but these results prove the importance of organizing and planning. Many millionaires reject status symbols whenever possible. Most millionaires believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. In other words, you're not what you drive. And last but not least, millionaires invest. On average, they invest 20% of their realized household income per year. They pay for expert financial and legal advice and study the markets and make their own investment decisions. So if millionaires are people who live below their means, work hard, and do not spend what society expects them, it sounds like something you could do, right? The first step is to find your net worth. Think of it as everything you have minus everything that you owe. Joe, for instance, has about $800,000 in assets. That includes bank accounts, cars, real estate, and so on. But he also has about $750,000 in liabilities, which includes stuff like debt, loans, mortgages. That means that his actual net worth is about $50,000. Ouch. Once you calculate your net worth, you can check if you are where you're supposed to be. The formula is simple. You take your age, you multiply by your yearly income, you divide it by 10, and this is what is called expected net worth. Let's look at Joe's example again. Since he's 40 years old and his annual income is about $300,000, his expected net worth would be $1.2 million, which is far different than his actual $50,000. Well, Joe, it is time to work on those personal finances. On the other end is Amanda, who's also 40. With an annual income of about $150,000 plus $20,000 coming from investments, her net worth should be around $680,000. Now it's time to calculate your own net worth and where you should be. Those who earn what they are expected are considered average accumulators of wealth. But nobody wants to be average, right? So if you want to be what the authors called a prodigious accumulator of wealth, or PAW, you should gather a fortune that is twice the amount of what the formula suggests. But what about those whose wealth is lower than the formula? People like Joe. Those are labeled under-accumulators, and if that's your case, don't worry. Hope is far from lost. Try to adopt the habits of millionaires and you'll be a step closer to change your circumstances. Habit number 1. Millionaires love budgets. You might think that just because someone is wealthy, they don't ever think about money. But the reality is they became rich and remain that way in large part by budgeting and controlling expenses. Here's how they do it so you can do the same. Step number 1 is to create and live by monthly and annual budgets. Visualizing the long-term rewards of achieving financial independence will give you that extra motivation you need in case you find budgets boring, which, in all honesty, they could be. Step number 2 is know what you spend on the basics. These are things like food, clothing, housing, and any other basic need. Most millionaires know quite well how their monthly expenses are doing. You can start by tracking every expense you have for just 1 month, and chances are you'll be quite shocked to see where your money is going and how much you're spending in certain categories. Step number 3 is spend time planning your financial future. We all know that one person who hears about a new get-rich deal or cryptocurrency and decides to invest without any research. Well, Amanda has never been one of those people. She spends significant time planning and she only invests in areas where she has a certain amount of knowledge in. This significantly minimizes her risk. And step number 4, set specific daily, monthly, yearly, and life goals. Setting specific goals will help you stay on the right track. Without goals, you're going to end up floating around aimlessly and wasting precious time and resources. Millionaire habit number 2, millionaires are stock investors. Wealthy people tend to spend a significant amount of time, around 8.4 hours or about 1.2% of their time, planning their financial future. And of course, simply increasing the amount of time you spend planning does not automatically translate into building wealth. Wouldn't that be easy? But it is an essential step towards wealth. 95% of millionaires own stock. Most keep 20% or more of their wealth in publicly traded companies. However, very few of them are active traders. Most don't closely track the daily ups and downs of the market, but dollar cost average their investments, and 32% keep their investments for more than 6 years. In other words, they're long-term value investors who are not trying to time the market. And in the never-stopping, always-on cryptocurrency market that changes by the minute and Reddit overnight millionaires, the word long-term sounds like a dirty one, but wealth typically requires time. Habit number 4, millionaires are frugal. The word that best describes many millionaires is frugal. And it's not easy to be frugal in today's world. Our consumption-oriented society celebrates lavish lifestyles floated around on social media, and it's easy to want to join the club. But the typical millionaire's lifestyle wouldn't make it to a TV show, and they don't stand out in their neighborhoods. And habit number 4, millionaires drive used cars. Most millionaires don't buy expensive cars. In fact, most of them don't even purchase new cars. They often buy quality and reliable vehicles that are several years old and they never lease or finance them. Why, you might ask? Because they understand that new cars are overpriced. The steepest depreciation happens in the first few years, so if you buy a car that is 3 years old, you're getting a great vehicle for an even greater price. Interestingly, most car buyers spend 30% of their net worth on a vehicle, while millionaires spend only 1%. And it comes down to this mindset. Would you rather be a millionaire or just look like one? And right now you're probably thinking, this is all fine and dandy, but I need action steps. How do I actually apply this information? What's the first step? So let's talk implementation, action steps in the next video. Click right here. I'll see you right there.